Hey guys! Welcome to Books and BlueStockings. I'm Betty Bookworm and I read way too much into things. Last week we discussed fairy courts. It was fun, but not really applicable to us because, well, most of us aren't fairies. So what's the closest thing that we mere mortals have to Melissa Marr created wicked lovely fairy courts? High school cliques, of course! How did I research high school cliques? I tirelessly and selflessly watched teenage dramedy after teenage dramedy to identify each type of clique that pops up in high school. And, well, I discovered something. All cliques are almost exactly the same! Well, let me rephrase. It's not that all cliques are the same, it's that Hollywood thinks they are. I've watched dozens and dozens of high school movies, but three stick out prominently in my head. Heathers, Mean Girls, and The Craft. And if Hollywood is to be believed, then the Heathers, the Plastics, and the Witches are all the same clique. Do they really believe that teenage girls have absolutely no distinction from one another? Or are they following a formula? Film and television writers often follow a TV trope called the Four Temperaments. The Four Temperaments are based on a classic Greek philosophy called the Four Humors. The humors are sanguine, phlegmatic, choleric, and melancholic. This formula is used in movies like Hangover, Bachelorette, and Las Vegas. It's also used in television, like Golden Girls, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and even South Park. And believe it or not, this slightly overused trope is actually beneficial because it helps writers with character development. This same formula is used in the movies that I mentioned earlier in the review. Heathers, Mean Girls, and The Craft. But each film makes the same oddly specific changes to the trope. They turn the Four Temperaments into the Four Bitches. For instance, the Sanguine character is usually an overactive, somewhat moralistic leader. But in all three movies, the Sanguine characters, Heather Chandler, Regina George, and Nancy Downs, are less like leaders and more like manipulative, conniving dictators. Each character has the primary main objective of elevating their own status. Heather Chandler wants to get in good with the college crowds, Regina wants to be spring fling queen, and Nancy wants to invoke a pagan god for power! They also have a secondary objective of destroying the melancholic character. Regina starts dating the guy that her friend Katie likes, Heather Chandler vows to destroy her friend Veronica, and Nancy straight up tries to kill Sarah. All three of the Sanguine characters get their comeuppance. Heather Chandler gets poisoned with drain cleaner, Regina gets hit by a bus, and Nancy gets locked away in an insane asylum. The phlegmatic character is usually the quiet, passive, even-tempered one. In the three movies, the phlegmatic characters Heather McNamara, Karen Smith, and Rochelle are pretty quiet, but they're also very vulnerable. All three are victimized, personally victimized, get it, by forces outside of the Four Temperaments. Heather McNamara is bullied into a suicide attempt, Karen gets slut-shamed by her high school peers, and Rochelle is tormented by a racist popular girl. There is a silver lining. All three of these characters overcome their hardships. The choleric character is usually pessimistic and riddled with anxiety. The choleric characters, Heather Duke, Gretchen Wieners, and Bonnie, are all resident doormats of the Sanguine characters. Their character arc consists of rejecting their lapdog status and gaining confidence. After Heather Chandler dies, Heather Duke gives up her bulimic tendencies and navigates to the top of her school's food chain. Gretchen Wieners kicks Regina out of the Plastics by loudly declaring, "You can't sit with us!" Bonnie casts a spell to erase the scars she sustained from being burned. It works and her self-confidence skyrockets. This brings us to our last temperament. The melancholic character is usually touchy, excitable, and impulsive. And if they're one of the four bitches, they're usually the protagonist. The melancholic characters, Veronica Sawyer, Katie Heron, and Sarah Bailey, all must overcome personal hardships, all while battling the Sanguine character. Veronica Sawyer must deal with the guilt of abandoning her friend Betty Finn, while also dealing with the ramifications of killing Heather Chandler. Katie is navigating a new school while trying to overthrow Regina's reign of terror. Sarah is mastering her natural witch powers while also trying to protect herself from crazy Nancy. So are all high school movie cliques the same, or are they just following a formula? Now, I used to make fun of these three movies. I would say that Hollywood just makes the same movie every 10 years. But really, they just had fun with a formula that enabled them to create characters that speak to us on an emotional level. The four temperaments represent the four basic parts of our personality. The trope allows us to identify with each character rather than just cheering for the good guy. Are there other examples of the four temperaments that you can think of? Let me know in the comment section. Thanks for watching. I'm Betty Bookworm, and I read way too much into things.